More Than a Celebrity, where in each episode, we bring you the best and brightest of the business side of celebrity. Both entrepreneurial-minded and cause-focused from Advertising Week's global stage. Covering the gamut of advertising, branding, social impact, and media in the moment. In this episode, we hear from Emily Ratajkowski, a New York Times best-selling author, actress, international fashion model, and podcaster. Emily has walked for many different brands during Fashion Week, such as Marc Jacobs, Bottega Veneta, Dolce & Gabbana, and Versace. Advertising Week recently sat down with Emily to discuss how and why she developed her own podcast.
People had approached me, actually Oren, about doing a podcast like 3 years ago.
Just about, yeah.
Yeah, and I was just like, I can't curse, right? Every mother effer has a podcast. And I was like, I just don't want to do that unless I'm going to do it really well. And at that time, I was starting to write my book of essays, and I just liked the idea of being able to write this book of essays and have my POV be out in the world before I started a podcast. I also grew up listening to NPR and This American Life, actually because of my day job, because I lived in San Diego and I would drive to LA, which is like a 2.5-hour drive, and I couldn't listen to music because it would make me fall asleep, so I just listened to NPR all the time. My parents, I was raised without television, so it was another thing. They were born in 1947 and 52, like we listened to radio. So I had this kind of traditional understanding of audio, and I wanted the podcast to be really great. And kind of have the production level that I was used to. I mean, I think that podcasting feels really amazing for me because a book is sort of like this, it becomes like an object that you make and then other people possess, but that's sort of where the conversation or the dialogue, I guess, ends. Yeah. Whereas with a podcast, it's just like ongoing forever. So what I've been saying to people is like, for me, podcasting is in between making a TikTok and writing an essay. I mean, it's definitely, the production of it is an art form, for sure. I think that I have a new appreciation for that. Like, there's something, when you do listen to so much, like, This American Life, you're like, that's just how they talk. They talk like that. They do one take, and there you go. And then you're in a room by yourself staring at a wall and listening to yourself and trying to, be cohesive and have thoughts that make sense. And it's different. Mm-hmm. But honestly, like I was telling you earlier, right before this, I did 2 interviews yesterday back to back, and everyone was like, are you so exhausted, blah, blah, blah. And I was skipping. I just can't believe that I get to have conversations with people that I'm really interested in, particularly with women, and that's like my job now, because I am just so curious about other people and their perspectives, and it's so enjoyable. It's hard because you obviously want to make the guests feel comfortable and not veer too far from talking points, but so much of podcasting and having a good conversation and having a good interview is just in listening and then responding. So like I found yesterday, I had these cards kind of that I was planning, and I never looked at them once. Because, if you want to be engaging the listener, then you need to also be thinking about what that person's saying and what it's making you think about, and then going from there. Yeah. It sounds so simple, but I think that when you're in the studio and you're like trying to remember like what are the important notes I have to hit, you can lose that.
And that's a wrap for this episode of More Than a Celebrity from Advertising Week's global stage. We hope you enjoyed this inspiring and forward-thinking interview with Emily Ratajkowski. See you next time.